If a client is comparing us with a few other options, chances are we've already lost the project. And the funny thing, it usually isn't our work quality that's the problem. Honestly, for a long time, I thought the market was all about being better. I thought if our design is sharper, execution more precise, or team stronger, we'd get chosen. But when I came across the concept of positioning, one of the most famous strategy theories, I realized maybe we've been playing the game wrong. There's a book called Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind by Ries and Trout. And just so you know, I'm not making this video to teach you anything. I was simply curious why some people get picked and others don't. So I read the book and now I just want to share the key ideas I personally got from it. Because see, if this idea is right, it could completely change how we look at the market. So, what does positioning even mean? The book has a famous line: positioning is not what you do to a product, it's what you do to the mind of the prospect. The real battle isn't in a market. The real battle is in the customer's mind. The authors say we live in a world where people are bombarded daily with an insane amount of marketing messages. The human brain filters most of it just to survive. If it didn't, we'd get crazy. So the problem for most businesses isn't that they are bad. The problem is they don't get through the mind filter. Section 2. The mind has a ladder. The book says the human brain categorizes information to avoid getting overwhelmed. And for each category, it builds a ladder. Usually there are only 3 or 4 rungs on this ladder. The brain has limits. For example, if I ask mobile phone brand, most people's mental ladders look like: first, Apple; second, Samsung; third, Xiaomi. That's it. Anything beyond that, they don't remember. Not because other brands don't exist. There's just no room in the mind. Very important point, the market is unlimited, but the mind isn't. Now imagine a new phone company comes along and says, we are better than Apple. What does the mind say? Almost nothing. Why? People don't like to change their existing beliefs. The brain avoids the energy cost of changing options. The book points to a psychological principle. Perceptions is stronger than reality, even if you are objectively better. So there's a key. Climbing that ladder is almost impossible. The better strategy, build a new ladder. That's worked much better. Section 3. More important than being first in the market, be first in the mind. Many market pioneers failed because they couldn't establish strong mental position. Traditionally, people think whoever entered the market first win. Ries and Trout say no. The winner is one who entered the customer's mind first. And these two are not the same thing. Sometimes the gap is huge. Why is the mind more important than reality? Because people don't decide based on reality. They decide based on perceptions. And perceptions means what they think is true, not necessarily what's actually true. The brain takes shortcuts. It doesn't research, it doesn't compare, it just trusts the first thing that comes to the mind. This is called mental availability. The brand that pops into the mind first has the highest chance of being chosen. Pretty simple, right? A harsh but professional truth. Once a position is formed in the mind, changing it is very costly. Not just financially, psychologically. People don't want to admit they were wrong. They'd rather stick with their existing belief, even if a better option shows up. Think about it. If you ask someone, what comes to the mind when I say search engine? Almost everyone says Google. Even though Bing exists, DuckDuckGo exists, other powerful search engine exist, it doesn't matter. Google became a verb. They say just Google it. That's mind domination. And once us reach this stage, competitors are basically invisible. Key insight most people miss. Being first in the mind doesn't necessarily mean being the biggest. Sometimes just means be the clearest. The mind loves clarity. It runs from complexity. If the audience has to think too much about us, chances are they won't pick us. Pro tip: even if we are late, we can still be first. Not in the entire market, but in a niche. For example, first ultra luxury architect in the city, first builder specializing in green towers, first designer of ultra minimals villas, first company for fast track construction. You don't need the whole market. Just own a corner of the mind. Quick but deep test. Tonight, if 10 clients were asked, who's the expert for this type of project? Does our name come to mind immediately, or do they have to think? If they have to think, we haven't entered their mind yet. One sentence, a strategic summary. Being better is not competitive advantage. Being more famous is not either. Being the first mentally association is. Section 4. If you are not first, be different. The book shares legendary examples. Avis lost money for a year because it tried to act like a market leader. Then one line changed everything. We are number 2, so we try harder. Suddenly, they became profitable. Why? Because they defined themselves relative to the market leader. The deeper lesson: when you can't be first, you need to create a different meaning of yourself. The worst place in the market, not first, not second, but just another player, where no image of you exists. The other example, 7-Up couldn't compete with Coke or Pepsi. So they say, we are on cola. They didn't fight in the cola war. They create a new category. Tylenol, instead of saying it's better than aspirin, they focused on aspirin's stomach issues and positioned themselves as the safer option. Sometimes to create a position, you have to change people's perceptions of your competitors. Section 5. The law of focus, one of the most powerful ideas in this book. The most powerful concept in marketing is owning a word in the prospect's mind. If you try to be everything for everyone, you'll be nothing for anyone. Section 6. Line extension. One of the deadliest mistakes according to the authors, overextending your brand. When you slap your name on thousands of products, the mental image in people's mind gets blurry. The book says the easiest way to kill the brand is to overextend it. Line extension means using one name for multiple different things. This makes the mind unclear about what you really specialize in. A strong brand usually focus on one concept because clarity is always stronger than variety. Section 7. The power of the name. The book also talks about names. A name should be clear, distinctive, and memorable. Generic name doesn't stick. The mind works with simplicity. Section 8. The solution isn't in the products, it's in the mind. One of the golden lines, the solution to positioning usually lies in the prospect's mind, not in the product. It's shocking but true. Sometimes we don't need to be better. We need to be better understood. This means real success isn't just about our product's quality, but about the perception our customers have. I really got this. I remember years ago when I worked in an architecture office. The company needed a high quality animation for a client presentation. They found a team. And for delivery, they sent the CD along with full software training pack in a customized big package. While everyone else just handled over a CD or flash drive. That's left a huge impression on me. Years later, even though I'd left that office, I know the managers still go to the same team whenever they need animation. Coincidentally, sometimes later, a big company asked me to create a complex animation of a construction process. I delivered it and made a nice package with some chocolates for the board. It worked. Even with tough competition, I kept winning visual projects from that company for a long time. Section 9. Positioning isn't just for products, it's for us too. The book even has a chapter on personal positioning. Define yourself first, stand on a specific concept, take risks, escape anonymity. It gives a cool piece of advice. Success already comes from within. You need to find a horse to ride, meaning move in growth-oriented direction. And the final book summary. If I had to sum up the whole book in a one line, the winner in the market isn't the best. It's the one with the clearest position in the mind. I have tried to give overview of the book here. Anyone who is interested should definitely read the book itself for fuller understanding. Now, let's talk architecture and construction. If this book is right, our biggest mistake in this industry maybe we are still competing on being better. Meanwhile, clients usually can't judge who is better. They only remember positions. Tough question. When our name comes up, what do they actually think of? What are we specialists in? What word do we own in the market, or do we even have one? Real positioning examples in construction is a luxury builder, minimalist architect, fast-track project specialist, sustainable designer, cost-conscious builder, niche preference architect, each equal a rung on the mental ladders. But a company that says we do all kind of project has no position. Key takeaway I got personally: sometimes the reason we are not chosen isn't because we are worse. It's because we are unclear. The market doesn't pick ambiguous people. The mind prefers simplicity. The worst thing in businesses isn't losing the project. The worst thing in businesses isn't losing a project. It's not existing in the client's mind at all. And after reading this book, the question that keeps spinning in my mind is, if someone had to define us in one word today, what would it be? If we don't know, maybe it's time to build our position. This video goes into a playlist called Competitive Advantage. If you want, you can suggest the next video for this playlist in the comments, so we can explore, read and summarize them here. Because chances are this is just start of a new way of thinking for me and maybe for us. Thank you.